There's a way to make 20% on your ETH in just 3 months, but it requires some sex exposure. I'm Steven, the Calculator Guy, founder of DeFi Dojo Discord, the most knowledgeable Discord in all of DeFi, and today we're talking about ETH2. So what is ETH2? ETH2 is a liquid staked derivative, or LSD, for KuCoin. It's KuCoin's version of staked ETH. Now, Lido has STETH, Rocket Pool has RETH or RKTETH, Frax has FRXETH, and soon Stater is going to have ETHX. There are many different varieties or versions of liquid staked ETH. Binance even has BETH. Basically, there are two major types of LSDs, right? Liquid staked derivatives. There are interest, there are value accrual, and there are rebasing. So rebasing is the type that ETH2 is, where you will get more of it every day. So if you start with one ETH2 today and the validation interest rate for ETH is 4%, then in a year you'll have 1.04 ETH2. You'll have more of it over time. Value accrual is the other way that you can gain from liquid staking, which is simply that over time, the value of the asset increases, not the amount, the value relative to its underlying asset. So BNBX, as an example, all the Stater derivatives actually increase in value relative to their underlying asset. So BNBX will increase at a rate of, I think, roughly 6 to 8% relative to BNB over time. So like one BNB or one BNBX right now is worth something like 1.05 BNB. It's worth more than BNB because it increases intrinsically. So anyways, ETH2 is a rebasing LSD, which means that it increases in amount over time. And it is currently way off peg. It is about 20% off peg. It's actually increasing a little bit this morning, but about 20% off peg. So let's talk about why it might be off peg, and then we'll get into sort of the opportunity that may exist here for those willing to brave it. On November 8th, FTX began to collapse. And you can see that as faith completely dwindled in centralized exchanges, ETH2 reached as low as 0.64 ETH. So almost half an ETH, which is pretty obscene. Then people sort of realized which exchanges were directly affected, which exchanges were not directly affected. It's still yet to be seen, but this is like the narrative or the assumptions or the sentiment. Sentiment increased, and ETH2 got all the way up to 0.84 ETH. Then Otaru, the famous Otaru, posted a thread on KuCoin, a very unflattering thread on KuCoin that I'm gonna link in this. And that tanked the price down to 0.75 ETH, right? It's about 25% arbitrage opportunity there. It is, in a sense, sort of stabilized around 0.8, between 0.83 and I'd say 0.79, 0.78. Right now it's at 0.811, which is a 19% off peg. All right, so Otaru has posted on KuCoin before. But on the 29th, he reiterated, I'm assuming it's a he, I could be wrong. It's could be a female otter, I don't know. They posted that KuCoin may have some issues, that they may be looking for liquidity, that liquidations may have hurt their underlying, and that they may be exposed to a variety of different risks. I'm going to link this in the video, or either in the comments or in the description, so that you can read this and decide for yourself. What I'm not doing is advocating for this strategy, and what I'm also not doing is stating that KuCoin is insolvent. I'm going to allow you to take in all the information that I have to present and then make up your own mind, your own decision, and see if this strategy is within your own personal risk reward. All right, without further ado, basically you can see right now 19% below peg. Why is it so enticing? Why is this strategy so interesting right now? Well, in a few months, we should get Ethereum's Shanghai upgrade. What does that mean? The Shanghai upgrade is going to allow unstaking for the very first time. unstaking of ETH. Now, what this means for Ethereum, who knows, right? There's going to be theoretically tons of Ethereum entering the market. This could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. Could just mean it increases faith in the Ethereum as an asset. Could mean that a lot of Ethereum is getting dumped. I am not here to speculate on all of that. What I am here to tell you is that the team has been sort of tirelessly working on the Shanghai upgrade. It is scheduled for sometime in March, which is about 3 months from now. And if it does go through, all of these liquid stake derivatives like BETH, CBETH, FRXETH, BETH, I think I might have already said that one, and ETH2 should arbitrage to their fair value, which for ETH2, that means 1 ETH per ETH2. For STETH, 1 ETH per ETH. And then for the other ones that are value accrual, it'll be even more than 1 ETH. So there are plenty of arbitrage opportunities. ETH2 just happens to be the most off peg and within some people's risk reward. You can check out all of liquid stake derivatives for ETH and see which ones you are comfortable with. Even Coinbase ETH is off peg or below peg. It might be interesting for a small arbitrage opportunity for you. Now, there are some things to note. Ethereum isn't always on time. The merge was delayed a few times, and this may be delayed as well. Will it be delayed? I don't know. I can't tell you that. So you are making a bet on a set of premises. The first premise is that KuCoin will stay solvent until Ethereum Shanghai. The second is that Ethereum Shanghai will happen in a reasonable amount of time. The third is that Pool X, who is a custodian for ETH2, owned by KuCoin, will have a mechanism in place for unstaking that functions very well. Now, I think the third assumption is safe if the first assumption is safe. So if KuCoin stays solvent and stays open, then I'm sure that the Pool X mechanism will work because they already have a bunch of staking opportunities on KuCoin. If I can find it, maybe I'll just type in ETH2 state or KuCoin staking Pool X. It's called Earn now. Yeah. So if you go to KuCoin Earn and then you search by type staking, you can see they have a lot of sort of semi-liquid staking. Actually, it's not liquid staking. It's just staking, where you can go in, stake your Matic, stake your Doge, stake your ADA, and then you can redeem it over time, right? So pretty simple mechanisms. They've had them for a while now. I remember Hydra used to be like hundreds of percents when I first got into crypto, and I was so excited about it before realizing sort of how inflation works. Regardless, if KuCoin stays afloat until Shanghai, I believe that the third assumption is safe. But you still are relying on those two major assumptions. One, Shanghai goes through in a reasonable amount of time. Two, KuCoin stays solvent, stays open, and does not sort of implode. Now, let's say you're right. Let's say KuCoin totally fine, right? KuCoin's been around for years. Let's say KuCoin is fine for another 3 or 4 months. And what would your return be, right? Well, 20% is the ROI. What is the APR? What is the annualized return? About 80%. What you do there for the math is you take the 20%, you divide it by the time. So 20% divided by 3 months out of 12. So 20% divided by 3 out of 12, 3/12. That gives you 80%. That would be your annualized return. You'll also get about 1% in additional ETH2 in your wallet. So, 81%. That's a pretty good annualized return. Now, of course, it's not going to be annualized because it sort of ends as soon as the Shanghai upgrade finishes. But people like to understand things in terms of APR, so I will, give them in terms of APR. It'll be a 21% ROI under that same time frame. So I guess it would be 84% APR in a 21% ROI. Now, what if you like this play, but you want to be delta neutral? I get that. I understand that. I'm the delta neutral guy. Personally, if I were to do this, I will say I'm not doing this currently. I may do this, but I'm not. If I were to do this, then I would probably hedge my delta. So, of course, I'm going to go over to my extended funding rate comparer and type in ETH and see where the best place to short is. It just so happens that it is MEXC. Now, this is not intentional, right? You guys probably know I have an affiliation with MEXC. It's the only real centralized exchange that the DeFi Dojo has an affiliate with. If you use the affiliate link, the affiliate revenue, well, one, you get 10% off of your trades, but two, the affiliate revenue goes back to paying the moderator team in the DeFi Dojo Discord, as well as charity. It funds charity. So if you want to get cheaper fees and contribute to the mod team in the DeFi Dojo and charity, then please consider using the MEXC affiliate link. But right now, you can see KuCoin and MEXC both good. You could do this whole strategy on KuCoin, but you may want to hedge your exposures. Bybit as well. Now, Bybit, unfortunately, going to be unavailable in the US pretty soon with more rigid KYC, but for the time being, still possible, I believe. So if you used MEXC and you did a 2x leverage, then you would get an APY of 60.21%, totally delta neutral, which I think is pretty cool. Actually, I can put this to 84% with that rebasing. So 63% roughly APR, delta neutral on Ethereum. And that's also locked in. So one of the things that you may not understand is that this yield is not going to be volatile, because you're locking in the arbitrage rate immediately. You're buying it under peg, and then you're buying it 20% under peg, and then whenever you can redeem it, you get the full value. So it's not like a farm or the APY is going up and down. You're effectively locking this in with the assumption Shanghai happens in 3 months. Now, if Shanghai happens in 4 months, of course, this yield goes down a little bit. If it goes in 5 months, the yield goes down a little bit relative to your risk. But assuming Shanghai happens in 3 months, March, on the date that they've announced, then this is what you will get. You will annualize 63%. You will get a 21% return on your ETH. I mean, maybe 19% now that ETH2 is going up a little bit, and it's no longer 20% under peg, it's 19% under peg. But that's pretty cool. So you could short on MEXC. You can even short on KuCoin if you want to stay on one platform. Go over here, click on KuCoin. And then still 60% would be your yield there. You could do more leverage if you wanted to. I think 3 leverage would be the most I'd be comfortable with. APY does go up there, right? 67% with just KuCoin, 70% using MEXC. But do understand that volatility could liquidate you with higher leverage. One final thing that I'll note is that when you're shorting, if you go this route, there are 2 ways you can do this. One way, you can short the full expected value of your ETH on redemption. So let's say you take 10 ETH, right? You take 10 ETH, you can't really see down here, and you buy a bunch of ETH2. So you buy what is that, 12.5? Yeah, you buy 12.5 ETH2. So you have 10 ETH long, you buy 12.5 ETH2 with that. Do you short the 10 ETH initial, or do you short the 12.5 ETH2? Well, totally up to you. If you short the 10 ETH, you've shorted your initial. Everything else is yield that can be volatile. You now have long exposure to your yield, right? That 2.5 ETH, you have long exposure to it, but it's all free effectively, right? That's just your yield. You have long exposure to your yield. If you short the 12.5 ETH initially, then the entire thing is neutral. Your yield is neutral as well as your initial. So that's completely up to you which way you want to go. Maybe you're bullish on ETH. You want the yields to be long, but you're sort of uncertain until then. You want to neutralize that initial 10 ETH that you used. I totally understand. One final thing to note here is that the liquidity here is pretty low. So if any big movers came in here and decided that they wanted to eat up this opportunity, I mean, like that, this could arb up multiple percents very, very quickly. So do keep that in mind, that this may bounce around quite a bit, especially as we get closer to Shanghai, and especially if there is any news about KuCoin or more FUD about KuCoin, expect some volatility here. So that's all. I did announce this opportunity last night on the DeFi Dojo Discord. If you want announcements like that and you want early access to them and you want to hang out with some of the smartest people in all of DeFi, I do recommend jumping in the DeFi Dojo Discord. It is just a really cool place. And the first month is free. So you come in there, you like it, you stay, you don't like it, you don't pay. You have a good time either way. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful rest of your day.